And hello, welcome to Open, the show that opens the Bronx and the rest of the world right to you. I am Darren Jaime. Today we'll update you on what's happening in our borough and across New York City. Coming up, a major investment in mental health is expanding access to care across New York City. We'll take a look at how funding is helping more people continue their recovery, build independence, and avoid returning to crisis. And then, one woman's search to uncover her family's past became a year-long journey for justice, revealing a remarkable story of loss, resilience, and the lasting impact of history across generations. And then up next, having a great idea is only part of the equation for success. We'll tell you how one thing called clear communication, authentic storytelling, as well as building trust can help businesses and organizations create stronger connections with the communities that they serve. And then lastly, we'll learn about a unique program that uses creativity, conversation, and self-reflection, helping to build confidence and strengthen emotional well-being, as well as empowering students to tell their own stories through art. So stay tuned, because all this and much more is heading your way. Right now, we're officially open. And hello, everyone. I am Darren Jaime, and you're watching Open, a program that brings the Bronx and New York City straight to you. You can stay connected to us on all of our social media platforms at Bronxnet TV. Some things have been going on throughout the past week. We'll take you through it with some Bronx updates. For many young people in foster care, moments of transition can come with uncertainty as well as challenges that most children never have to face. Community organizations across the Bronx are working to make those experiences just a little easier, providing some resources, encouragement, and a sense of support. And recently, volunteers and not-for-profits as well as community partners came together for an initiative focused on helping youth feel prepared as well as valued. Our Bronxnet reporter, Brittany Schuyler, has the story.
In the Mott Haven section of the Bronx, volunteers and partners across Comfort Case, Anthem, and the Felix organization held a packing party, filling over 250 backpacks and duffel bags for local youth in foster care to make sure they're prepared for this summer's Felix camp.
For them to show up on the first day and get a brand new bag filled with everything that they need to have a great experience at camp, whether it's a journal or a blanket, a stuffed animal, even affirmation notes to remind them to have fun at camp and try something new. It tells them that there's someone out there pulling for them.
With nearly 9,000 children in New York City's foster care system, many still lack necessities such as toiletries, stationery, and even proper bags to carry their belongings. And that's despite Governor Kathy Hochul signing legislation to end the practice of transporting children in foster care with trash bags.
No more trash bags in foster care in New York, but I'm here to tell you, my friend, it's still happening.
Founder of Comfort Cases, Rob Shear, understands the importance of this donation, given that he entered the foster care system at 12 years old and was homeless by 18, spending his senior year of high school living on the streets. Years later, after adopting 5 children who each arrived with their belongings in trash bags, he made it his mission to end the practice for foster youth.
And I knew as one human, I could really make a difference. And if I push that mountain with all of my other members of my community, the mountain will move. And it's called eliminating trash bags.
To date, Comfort Cases has distributed more than 320,000 backpacks to children in foster care across all 50 states, Puerto Rico, and the UK. To learn more or get involved, visit comfortcases.org. Reporting for Bronxnet, Brittany Schuyler.
And thank you, Brittany. In other news, filmmakers, artists, and community members recently gathered in Mount Vernon for a celebration of independent cinema. The event highlighted a variety of creative works, also giving filmmakers the opportunity to share the inspiration behind their projects, as well as connect with audiences. Our reporter, Shatrice McQueen, brings us the story.
In the quiet Joseph S. Wood Auditorium, an audience sat to watch this year's films selected for Mount Vernon's second annual film festival. Filmmakers and actors were present as their work is finally unveiled, chosen to show after months of screening from several judges.
The idea of connecting with fellow filmmakers in this sort of stage where you can be vulnerable, where you're allowed to not be distracted and really like get the story that's being conveyed. There's something more intimate about something like that, and it's very powerful.
This intimacy stands out and is a drawing point for creators aiming to share a message through the lens of a camera.
I really love that our film can be showcased here because it's such an intimate community. A deeper topic sometimes needs a more intimate setting, and Mount Vernon Festival offers that.
Over 40 films were selected, going from 1 minute to 3 hours long. Several films would be shown within a block of time, separated to match an overarching theme. Those who had a hand in the production shown were then invited to a post-viewing Q&A, where they could speak more on the film. Chioma Osai, director of The Morning After, found a personal meaning in this being her first film chosen for a festival.
After, my cousin passed, I felt called to just make that into something to express myself through, this medium. And like I said, it's been a very healing process. You can still experience the beauty that life has to offer you even after grief.
In between sessions, panels are held where creators can speak on various subjects and offer insight into the niche details of filmmaking. And although this is only their second year, the Mount Vernon Film Festival has already garnered over 200 submissions from various filmmakers. These films come from around the world, but as a Mount Vernon native, co-founder Brian Ribeiro found it important to center work being done in this city.
It's pretty much all-inclusive, but we do want to highlight specifically Mount Vernon filmmakers and Westchester filmmakers who want to engage with the wider world of art and specifically film that they may have not otherwise gotten the chance to.
And his mentor, Alex Vasquez Escano, shares these sentiments.
This film festival is important to continue to grow so that stories from folks that live here are being told in the film medium.
These festivals allow creatives to meet other creatives and build a network otherwise difficult to grow. These spaces are a sacred tradition, no matter the size.
The art of telling a story matters, and it's festivals like these that give platform to stories like mine. So I am very grateful to this festival and festivals of this scale that provide a platform to people that don't have access to the big budgets, but we still have a really good story to tell.
The festival closes out with an award ceremony. About 20 films will win an accolade based on the content of their work. In Mount Vernon, I'm Shatrice McQueen with Bronxnet.
And thank you, Shatrice. And that's all the time we have for our Bronx updates. We are taking a quick break, but guess what? We'll have more open when we return.
We're gonna start the show right now. This is my favorite part. Ready in 5, 4, 3, 2. Hey, this is Angel, and I am one of the instructors for the in-studio production. Here at Bronxnet, we offer classes that can help you elevate, expand, and start your television career. All you have to do is sign up at bronxnet.org/education. For the past 7 years, I have been in various productions, spanning from talk shows, independent films, news reports, art displays, teachings, musical performances, and many more. Ain't that right, Angel? Yeah, you're absolutely right, Angel. There are a lot of creative individuals that we're just waiting to sign up for the class. And if I may, can I also express that? Thank you, Angel. That's all the time we have left. Visit bronxnet.org/education and become a producer by taking the course. The class I offer is also in English, en español y también bilingüe. Nos vemos en la próxima clase.
And we are back. New York City is making a major investment in mental health care with $4.5 million included in the 2027 budget, expanding a proven program that helps people transition from intensive treatment to long-term community-based support. The Institute for Community Living STEPS program has helped participants continue the recovery while also reducing demand on the city's most intensive behavioral health services. Joining me now to discuss more, we've got Laura Savino, who's the Senior Vice President at Care Management for the Institute of Community Living. And Laura, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And being able to have this investment obviously makes a tremendous difference in the lives of so many people. But talk to us, because there's a gap that potentially exists, and you're able to actually fill that gap.
We are. So the gap, what happens is individuals go into the hospital with, let's say, mental health crisis, and they get treated there with medication, stability, support, and then typically they leave from there to a behavioral health team, an ACT team, which is an assertive community treatment team, or an intensive mobile treatment team. From there, they continue that recovery journey, they continue those goals. But what we noticed on our ACT and IMT teams, that the transition period from those teams was really, really difficult. What we were asking individuals to do was go from home-based, community-based care to now going on their own to an outpatient clinic, and it just was not working. We found that a lot of these individuals were cycling back to the hospital, going back on wait lists for our ACT teams, for our IMT teams. So there really wasn't a space where that continuum, that there would be like a less intensive ACT or IMT model. It just went sort of like from point A to point B. And there wasn't really an in-between that, and that's the gap that we identified.
We talk about steps, right?
Yeah.
And then we talk about progress. They kind of like go together.
They do.
So how does, first of all, for those who may not be familiar with steps, let's get into steps.
Sure. So STEPS is an acronym. It's our step down, ensures treatment to success. And really, it is literally a step down. I think what happens is people, you don't want to jump from the top step to the bottom. You have to go slow, and that's what the STEPS program does. It allows for the continuum of care. It allows us to still go into the community, to visit clients, to administer medication, and really to focus on their goals and their recovery. So we're talking about continuing to sustain housing, continuing to improve their own medical and mental health, to rebuild these relationships that have been fractured in the past or that they may not have even had, and rebuilding and reintroducing in support.
So when you get the $4.5 million, obviously this is a huge, it's a huge shot in the arm.
Yes.
How do you see that playing a part in the work that you're doing?
It really, it shows us, it shows ICL that the city is invested in this. There's change has to be made. We really feel like there needs to be tweaks and sort of an overhaul of the behavioral health system overall. And we feel like a program like STEPS is a perfect way to introduce in that change. So when we heard about this, we were kind of on the edge of our seat. We weren't really sure. We were planning contingencies for our wonderful clientele on STEPS to ensure that they would be okay if funding didn't go through. We're elated. We're thrilled that this is happening. I was smiling when you were saying, oh, it's been approved. So we're really looking forward to, continuing the access for people.
Any idea on the number of people that's going to actually be impacted by what you're able to do?
Many. So, the biggest challenge is the ACT teams and the IMT teams in New York City have wait lists. There are individuals who will wait up to sometimes 2 years to move from the hospital to these behavioral health intensive settings. And I think we've seen in our pilot program with STEPS, we've been able to reduce those wait lists. Our capacity right now is 100 clients on a STEPS team. We are looking to expand that, so we're really, really hopeful that the wait lists will move, that we can kind of start some momentum moving where people are not waiting so long to continue their recovery, because recovery is long term.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for yourself, obviously, this being a program that's impacting so many lives, right?
Yeah.
Seeing the cuts that are out there right now, but then also being able to really receive that, it's got to do a great thing for both you and the people that you work with.
Yeah.
And also addressing a big issue, right? Mental illness that we
Yes.
talk about
Yes.
that's plaguing so many people. For a family out there that's dealing with mental illness, talk to us about how, you know, the program really is able to address some of those needs and, you know, this money being able to be an asset.
I think that when you have a loved one or a friend in a crisis, in a mental health crisis, it can feel extremely isolating. You cannot do this alone. You have to do this with individuals, and you can't, you know, the city has focused a lot on crisis. We need to focus on long-term stabilization, and I think that's what STEPS is doing and will continue to do. So what I say to families out there is hope. I mean, it may sound a little cliche, but there are places you can go to start. It can feel very overwhelming. You can call 311. You can call 844 ICL Hope. ICL can help, you know, direct you to where you need to go, whether it's within ICL or another appropriate level of care. But you have to start somewhere. There are places to start, but it can be very overwhelming.
How important is that recovery situation when you have people who are leaving, right? And they're coming out, and someone says, hey, you know, this program is over, I've done that. But we know that recovery is long term, right?
Yes.
It goes beyond you leaving a bed, leaving a facility, and to be able to service that. And so for someone that may not be so familiar about the recovery process, because whether or not we believe it or not, there's a lot of people who are ignorant to recovery, thinking, okay, they got their treatment and it's over, they should be good.
Yeah.
And that's not the case.
It's not, because I think a lot of times there's a misconception that there is a choice in this behavior. There's a choice in acting the way people may be acting, and there's not. This is a disease, and it's a disease that takes a very long time to stabilize. And if you don't have the right tenants in place, if you don't have the right supports in place, it can be very, very difficult. You know, you go into a hospital, you're treated there, you're in a very stabilized, controlled environment. That's not real life. And what we're finding is that there needs to be these moments of the in-between. This is a theme that we talk about in a lot of our STEPS recovery group, of being in the in-between. It's uncomfortable. It's one of the most vulnerable places. It's one of the hardest places to be, but it's where STEPS found the gap for that in-between.
I want to talk about a report, and you give me a little bit of insight in this. 97% housing stability,
Yes.
89% avoided hospitalization, 100% no arrest or incarceration, and cost just 18% of intensive programs, and you've also reduced the wait list.
Yes.
Talk to us about this here.
This is huge. You know, you go into a pilot program with hope, but things may not necessarily work out. We were so pleased that the steps that we put into place to provide these services were working. You know, we had to amend a few things along the way. Nothing is perfect. But the fact that we did not have anyone go back into the system, the jail system, incarceration, the fact that hospitalizations were reduced is huge, because that's usually an indicator that somebody needs an ACT or an IMT team. So what it's telling us is that what we're doing is working, because we're taking what's working from these other models and putting it into steps.
You talked about, well, the report talks about 97% housing stability.
Yes.
I mean, we know housing is huge, right?
Huge.
What is the secret sauce there? I mean, can we pass that on to somebody?
Absolutely. I mean, I think that when you support other life areas, you're able to support something major as housing. I mean, there are so many individuals who are unhoused in this city. We're seeing more and more of that happening. If we're able to, it's sort of like a housing first model. A lot of housing organizations use this, and so does ICL, that if you have a stable home and a home base to go back to, the thought is that it's easier to dip into those really difficult, vulnerable places with your health, mental health, socialization, recovery, substance use. Often when the housing is not stable, it's very difficult to try to work on those other life areas. So for us to see that housing was maintained and stabilized showed us that the other interventions that we were working within steps were working in general.
Give us a crystal ball as to what we see coming up in the future.
Well, ICL is always innovative. We feel like we are here to learn and are a step ahead. Our CEO, Jody Rudin, is so invested in this mission, in our mission, in steps. I think that there will be more step-down teams. We want there to be more access for people. We want wait lists to reduce. We really want to see a continuum, a flow for individuals so they can continue their recovery. That's the most important thing, is explaining to people that, yes, we've said that recovery is not linear, but you really need to have those supports in place. And it's not just about throwing someone in a hospital, getting them stable, and then releasing them. There needs to be a system, a behavioral health system that is in place that works.
Yeah, Laura, thank you so much for being with us. Great work you're doing.
Thank you.
Continue to make the impact.
Appreciate it. Thanks so
Thank
much.
you. All righty. Now, listen, if you want more information, go ahead and visit the website, iclinc.org. That's iclinc.org. Encourage you, don't go anywhere, because guess what? We are coming back with more Open right after this.
Soy negro, blanco, taíno, mulato, caribeño, bueno, latinoamericano.
19.7% of Bronxites currently experience food insecurity. Meanwhile, instead of these nice, colorful foods, this is the best food that they have access to. If this sounds like you, there are a bunch of resources to get healthy food for free or cheap. If you want to help, you might consider donating or volunteering in one of these places. Community fridges like this one are all over the city and allow New Yorkers to conveniently donate extra food to people who might need it. Go to this link and find your nearest one. Food banks and pop-up events like these provide millions of healthy meals to families in need. These organizations are distributing meals to Bronxites as we speak and are always accepting donations and volunteers.
And welcome back. For more than 8 decades after World War II, many families are still seeking answers, accountability, and justice for what was taking place during the Holocaust. In her memoir, Summons to Berlin, Dr. Joanne Intrator chronicles a 9-year effort to reclaim a family building that was stolen by the Nazis, exploring generational trauma and the continuing pursuit of justice. Joining me now to share more about her book is Dr. Joanne Intrator, who is the author of Summons to Berlin. And thank you so much for being with us. And interesting read, because here it is, you are really trying to reclaim both your family's lineage, right, in yes. legacy, if you will, and at the same time, also going in another direction. I'll let you share.
Well, thank you so much for having me here. And I feel very good to be here in the Bronx because I worked at the Bronx VA for a long time and the Bronx Criminal Court Clinic and Albert Einstein. So I'm a Bronx girl way
at
back.
Heart.
Okay.
At heart. Good to have you.
Yeah. Well, what happened is this all began in April of 1993 when I went to visit my father in Florida. And he was dying, and he looked like he was in a coma, and I sat next to him. And all of a sudden, he sat up straight like a young man, and he looked at me and he said, "Are you tough enough yet? And do they know who you are?" And then he went down. And 36 hours after that, he passed away. So I was, shocked at that time, but I knew what he was getting at. The family had just found out that a building, it's a very large manufacturing building in East Berlin. The wall had just come down a couple years ago, had our name on what's called the Grundbuch, the names of the people that owned the building. And there were 16 family members. Just to give you a heads up, my percentage of this was 3.5%. So this was not something that meant a lot to me from a financial point of view, but meant a lot to me because something wasn't right. Very shortly after, I met with a lawyer in New York, a Berlin lawyer, to tell me what was going on with this case. My father had wanted me to take over this case, and I sort of knew what he meant by, "Are you tough enough yet? And do they know who you are?" These final questions that he presented to me. And I learned very quickly that, well, you're going to have to prove that the family lost the building because you were Jewish. And I said, well, that's ridiculous. This was the Holocaust. My family's lives and livelihood was destroyed. He said, well, no, that's how it is. You'll have to prove the building was taken because of that, which was kind of a put-off, to say the least. I went over to Berlin that fall to a meeting to discuss the case. And the first of my behaviors that would have worried my father is that it kind of shut down. It was a room of everybody speaking German, and the whole German language frightened me. And there I was walking in, and first thing I felt was like one of my dogs who came in and put his hands up and said, "I give up." You know, I gave my agency away right away. And then he said to me, "Do you mind if we do this in German?" And I said, "No, I don't mind," which was crazy. Right. All I knew was childhood German. But I was very intimidated and frightened being in Berlin.
I want to get to this point when you got to doing this investigation.
Yeah.
You get to the building, there's these stars that are found, right? And it's a million yellow stars. Can you tell me really quick?
Yeah, let me tell you what happened is, first I understand that the Nazi flag was produced in the building. The building was taken in late 1938, completely different ownership. The building was turned into the manufacturing of the big Nazi flags that you see in all the events. As the case went on, I learned that in 1941, September of 1941, Heydrich, one of the nastiest of the Nazis, gave an order to the building to produce 1 million Jewish stars that would be worn on Jewish arms so that no one could escape the hands of the Nazis. By 1941, most people were out in Germany. Those that were not out were going to go into concentration camps. My grandparents were able to leave just shortly before that. And so the Jewish star was a very big issue for me, and because if that star was not on you, you were sent immediately to the camps. It was the deciding time when no Jew was going to stay in Berlin anymore. So it meant a great deal for me to uncover all of this and get this information out.
Getting this information out and to get to the place where you could find this information and then reclaim the building was a long process.
That's right.
We talked about a 9-year journey.
Yes.
They told you that you'd probably be dead by the time the case was.
Yeah, exactly. That all our relatives, and myself included, might be dead before this happened. And
how'd that make you feel?
I could have, slapped him, but I'm not that old. But in any case, it was very cruel. And it was certainly the case for the older members of the 16 people. Several people died during that time. because of the slowness and the unwillingness and the fact that only 5 people were assigned to be judges of these buildings. And there were thousands of buildings that were being claimed. And ours was on the very bottom because it was a complicated case, because the people that took the building in 1938 said, oh, they lost the building because they were lousy businessmen. It has nothing to do with anti-Semitism. So this was a, really nasty piece of work that I was having to deal with, very demoralizing. And I started coming to Berlin fairly regularly in the middle of the winter. The airfares and hotels were cheaper, and I wanted to feel that German Siberian wind so that I wouldn't think about the pretty German that I saw when I was there 6 months before. I wanted it to be as dark as anything to get me as angry as possible, and it was helpful. At that first meeting, later on in '95, the lawyer says to me, I think there's a rumor that the Nazi flag was made in this building. I said, rumor? I was at the same time becoming an expert on language used by different people's character. I'm a psychiatrist. People speak differently with different characters. They speak differently if they have different types of personalities. So this business of rumor, I knew what that was about. He knew he had to tell me, and he didn't have the guts to tell me himself that the building was used by the Nazis to make the flag. And I felt I wasn't in safe hands with this man because he wasn't direct, and he knew it.
As you journeyed on, you were able to get the building back, right? And now you put pen to paper, you tell the story, you've got this wonderful book that's out. I want to ask you about the message, right? Because there's a message in all of this, this experience. What do you want readers to take away from your work and from your family's experience, your experience?
You should know that it's very important to know who you are and what your background is. And it's very important to fight for ideals that you've been living with for your whole life. It's also very scary, and one has to do a lot of talking to oneself to be able to get through. The way the book is written, it's written as Joanne, the psychiatrist, telling my reader, this is what's happening, this is what I was feeling, this is what I was afraid of, this is what I had to do. I bring the reader along to the whole story, so they're right with me. And that makes the book special. Plus, I teach them the history of the rise of the Nazis and the fall, because I was a historian before I was a doctor. So it's lots of interesting things in the book.
Before I let you go, let me ask you a question about where people can get the book.
Well, it's on Amazon. It's on all. It has been in
all platforms?
Stores, platforms, and love it if people would read it. They can write to me, and I write people back. My webpage is, available.
Yeah, I'm going to give them the website right now.
Okay.
So, but I want to thank you for coming in and sharing
this is
with
terrific.
us an inspiring story, and thank you for your persistence, your resilience, and seeing it all the way through.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Hey,
it's
glad
wonderful
to have you.
to be back in the Bronx again.
Good to have you back.
Right.
Stay here. Don't. I want to go to commercial with you. So stay right here. Okay. So if you want more information, go ahead and visit the website at JoanneIntrator.com. We've got more open coming up right after this. We're gonna let Joanne go off. We're gonna let somebody else come on, but we're gonna take a break first.
We are the Eco Leaders. We learned that everything starts with ourselves. Then we have to educate ourselves. Then we have to build community and use our imagination.
And welcome back. Many businesses are doing some incredible work, but their impact can go unnoticed if people don't understand who they are, what they do, and why it all matters. Now, through Oathic, a Bronx-based strategic clarity practice, leaders and entrepreneurs can actually communicate their value more effectively, as well as build trust and turn stories into opportunities for growth. Joining me now to share more is Niles Smith, who's the founder and chief brand strategist of Oathic. And Randy, good to have you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here today.
It's great. So I guess you could have this great work, right? Have this great platform, but if it's not reaching people, really, we're in trouble.
Right.
So now we got to talk to Randy, find out what do we do.
Yeah.
Talk to us a little bit about this here.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, the name of the game is clarity.
Right.
And specifically being clarified in your messaging, your positioning and identity. And the most important thing that we found is starts with identity first.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't actually know who you are, if you don't know why you're actually in the position that you're in, to do this service, to provide whatever you're providing, the messaging gets tainted. It's not clear to the very people that you're meant to actually serve and, and connect with. And so that's what I built. That's the overall messaging that I built around Oathic, and that's what Oathic exists for, to really help people get back into a position where they can truly understand what it actually means to build a brand at the end of the day.
When you talk about understanding, that's key, right? People have to understand what that business is, what they represent, what they value. Many times you look at places and they actually are misunderstood.
Right.
How do we get out of that place of being misunderstood to providing that clarity?
Yeah, no, great question. And really, again, it comes down to messaging, being very clear about that messaging and understanding actually who you're speaking to at the end of the day. A lot of times people think we're out for everybody, right? We're creating products, we're putting out these services, like everyone is our customer, everyone's our client. Reality is that that's not true, because everyone has a very specific way of, connecting with certain things in the world. So getting very clear on your personal messaging, again, come right back to the identity of who you are. Why did you build what you built in the first place? What's the core identity that really is resonating with that? Because then everything else is going to follow very easily behind it. The messaging is key, but you have to truly understand who you are before you can craft that messaging so that you can actually reach the people that you're trying to reach and bring the opportunities to you that are meant to be brought to you at the end of the day.
What are some of the common mistakes you're finding that people are making as they come to your desk?
Yeah, I think the biggest one is they're reaching for what comes at the end first. They think that better designs, better logo, they want more marketing. We have to post more, do all of these things. These things are really great to help you amplify, again, what you're very clear on first. So if the messaging isn't clear, everything that you're building afterwards is only going to amplify more of the noise, more of the confusion, more of the distractions. So if you're posting, 50 times a day, you hear a lot of this advice, like you got to post more, throw more money to ads, get more ads out. But again, if the message isn't clear, you're only reaching the audience that isn't actually built for your business. And that's why a lot of businesses find themselves stalling and falling into places that, don't really serve them.
Yeah. When I'm out in the community, I hear this oftentimes when we talk about people that we've interviewed. People, I didn't know about that. I didn't know about this agency. I didn't know about the services that are provided. That's a main common thing that I find when I'm out there in the community. People come up to me and talk like, I don't know. I didn't know that existed.
Right.
Somewhere along the line, there's this communication gap, right? So we got a lot of great places in the Bronx, a lot of people doing some great work, but somehow there is this gap. Are you seeing that? And if you do see that, what can we see better to try to get more in terms of visibility and clarity that you're talking about for these businesses, these organizations, these not-for-profits that really are doing great work but really aren't landing?
Right. No, and I definitely see that.
Okay.
I see that a lot. Yeah. I would, honestly, I would just say it's really important for business owners, founders, leaders, organizations to come back to the table with strategy. We're very focused on the external, right? We're quick for the execution of all of these external things and deliverables and stuff. but focusing internally. You know, like again, what's going on inside of the business? And at the end of the day, no one has a design problem. No one has a logo problem. You know, most cases, most people don't really have a marketing issue at all. It's a clarity issue. If we're not clear on exactly what we're building, who we're building it for, what we're building it towards, everything else is going to fall apart. You know, we'll just find ourselves like a dog, you know, chasing its tail, you know, as they say, just going around in circles. So,
right. And we're looking here. So let's break this down. We got the clarity framework that's out there. You start with identity, and then we move to message.
Yes.
And then we talk about connection and impact. Give me a little bit on this connection piece, because why it clicks, that's important.
Yes, so the connection piece, why it clicks, is simply because when the message is resonating deeply with the audience that you're actually meant to serve, there's no guesswork in that. They immediately understand that this was built for them. They know that you're talking very specifically to them. And that's what you ultimately want. So across all your platforms, your website, like anything that's front-facing that has your messaging, has all your, you know, just everything about who you are. Even when somebody walks into your business, you know, if you have a storefront or something like that, right? Everything is giving them the cues of whether or not this is for me. So if they have a bad experience, easily they could say, this isn't the place for me, I'm not coming back here. If they go to the website and the first thing that they're hearing is everything about you, and a lot of businesses tend to do this, you know, it's, we do this, we do that, the client, the customer, the audience, they're looking for themselves. They're looking for a reflection of themselves, what they're challenged with, what they're staying up, stressing about at night. So the most important thing is you want to model, again, your messaging, everything, positioning, identity, to be a reflection of who these individuals actually are. But you can't do that yet until you begin, you know, with those beginning stages, as I, you know, laid out, identity, you know, moved into messaging. That then brings you to connection, which then allows you to be able to make that impact that you're looking to make.
The impact really is what people are driving for, making that lasting impact.
Right.
And as you talk about, there's a lot of things that can happen to really not get to that place of impact. We see the end, but we don't get the beginning and the middle right. To get to, you know, to get to the end. For somebody who may want to sharpen up on those services, how are those services provided by you, and how can people get connected on that area?
Getting connected with myself? Easily, I mean, you could visit, you know, Oathic.com. You could find me on the web, you know, social media and things like that. But again, as well as hello@Oathic.com. You can definitely reach me via email if you want to connect and talk, you know, more about that. And yeah, I would just say again, it's really, really important that business owners, founders organizations come back to the table for this.
Right.
Because it sets up the runway for everything else that's going to come afterwards. It makes it so much more easier.
What can the business owner do right now? Say, listen, they're watching the show right now. Maybe I don't call you right away, right? But I just want to get started. I heard something clicked, right? Now I got to think about making it work. What's some simple things that people can do at the beginning to get started to put us on that right track?
Yeah, definitely. And great question. One of the simplest things that you can do, and I give this all the time, if you're a business owner, founder, leader, organization, whatever it may be, ask someone who's outside of your industry if they could share with you what your business, like what comes across for them. What's the messaging? How do they perceive your business? If you find that they're not capable of actually being able to do that, you know that you have a problem right there. The messaging, everything is off. You have to come back to the table and really get back to the cores of that. Because if people who are most closest to you can't fully articulate what it is that you do, it's very clear that whatever you're putting out, it's confusing them as well too. Especially for businesses, you could ask your own employees. That's something that a lot of businesses don't do. They don't turn internally. You know, you have a lot of businesses where the employees themselves don't actually know what they're working towards, why they're there, really, other than, you know, just a paycheck, and it's something that they like to do. So starting there, asking other people outside of yourself and outside of your industry, can they express to you what the business means for them? You know, what the brand in itself means for them.
And one thing we didn't talk about really is what makes a brand different, right? I mean, that distinction. I think everybody's out there, you're looking, you're seeing.
Right.
We've got similar looks, but there's something about a distinctive, if you will, right? That makes somebody say, oh, okay.
Right.
And how important is that?
It's extremely important.
Right.
It's probably the most important thing. I mean, brand is your reputation at the end of the day. And your reputation is based off of the experiences that others are having of you. You know, we can say everything that we want about. That's one expression of brand, right? Our own personal opinion. But everybody else has one as well too. So it's really important, again, to be able to, you're ultimately just attempting to shape as best as possible and trusting that what you're putting out into the world, again, it's a reflection for the right people, because you're not going to get everybody. You know, people who shop at Walmart may not shop at Target.
Right.
You know, like it's a very different demo, and everything is very different on that scale. So staying very true to who you are will allow you to begin to put out the correct messaging to then reach those people, ideally. Yeah.
You hit the nail on the head. Some people shop here, don't shop there. If I say it, they'll sue me, so I can't tell you who I shop with. But thank you so much for being with me.
No, thank you.
Brandy,
Thank you.
good to
truly
have you,
appreciate
man.
it.
Thank you for the information. I think businesses really need to pay attention, because in this day and time, very important. And messaging is important, but also connecting
Extremely.
is even more important. Thanks a lot for being
Thank
with
you.
us.
Thank you.
All right, now listen, if you want more information, go ahead and visit the website at Oathic.com. Stick around. We'll be right back, coming up right after this. And welcome back. I See Me Self-Portrait is a 7-week creative youth development program that's created by JJ Grant that combines visual arts with social emotional learning, mentorship, and storytelling. And throughout the program, students create large-scale portraits, they're actually self-portraits, while developing communication skills and the confidence to share their personal journeys. And join me now, we've got 4 very special young men to discuss the program and their upcoming art show. We've got facilitator Emmett Bruce. We've got intern and former student Victor Rodriguez, current students Tayoli Bagayoko and Jaden Ramos. I said it right, didn't I? Give me my props. And the 14s. All right. Good to have y'all. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having us.
So this is a great time for you guys. I mean, excited about what's happening?
Yes, definitely. Very excited.
So you're facilitating, right?
Yeah, I'm facilitator / mentor.
Okay, so as you facilitate and mentor these young men, talk a little bit about it.
Well, I See Me is an initiative, 7-week art program therapy. And basically what we do is we guide the youth. We help them identify their values. And we just got them in the right direction. We all know how the neighborhood is nowadays, you know. Things is tough right now. So we just got them to understand themselves, stand on their values. We challenge them, we challenge their values, we make sure they stick to it, and you know, it keeps them out the streets.
Tayoli, talk a little bit about finding your voice, because I mean, I think this program has helped you do that too, huh?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I See Me, they know what we're doing. Every day we're coming in, talking about our emotions, talking about how we feel, and it's just a great program for like all of us. I'm really glad to be here, and I just like what they do for us, helping me learn every day and keeping me off the street, like he said.
And Victor, you're not only a graduate, you're also an intern too?
Yeah.
So what made you come back?
I felt like the environment, when you feel yourself grow in an environment when people actually want to see you grow and people actually want to see the better for you, you just want to stick to the environment. So I was actually the first class of ICME. I was the beginning, and it's amazing to see how we went from being in one school to being in multiple schools and helping other people and actually being in other states and cities. So it's just amazing to see. I want to be also part of the process.
Yeah. And Jaden, for yourself, obviously conversation is big in these classes, and you guys talk about a lot of different stuff. Yeah. Any particular one really stick out for you to say, oh man, this I'm down with this?
Yeah, when they were having us like talk about ourselves more, it was really bringing me out my comfort zone a lot. So I really started to like deep dive into my own thoughts, and like I started recognizing myself more. So it's like I felt like a bunch of conversations about asking us who we are, how we've been doing, and where we've been getting at so far. It's definitely been helping me grow a lot.
Yeah. So Emmett, for people who don't know, you got a student art show that's happening, right?
Yes.
So let's walk through where people can be able to find out more about this and what they're going to see.
Well, you can find out about it on our social media platform, which is JJ Grant NYC. Our next art show is in Fannie Lou High School, August 13th, and it's a great event. Right. We always have a good time. It's food. It's you see the kids developing. You see them understanding themselves. Some of them get emotional, and we enjoy it. We enjoy it. We connect with the family. We give them a permanent outlet, So after the program is over, we still connected with these students. If they need help with anything, they could come to us. They could ask us.
What does art mean to you?
I mean, personally, art is, I haven't really been like a big art guy, but like, now I'm in ICME, JJ Grant, like, I feel like art is a way to like express myself. I feel like now it's kind of important to me, and it's just really good. Art is just something that I really love now.
Yeah. For yourself?
Yeah, I can say the same thing that he said. It's like when we first started our paintings and stuff, it was helping me express myself a bit, my emotions that I've been holding and stuff like that. So I was able to really let go and express myself on a canvas, and it felt nice.
Yeah.
Because I was never really into art myself, but being able to create something, have my peers help me, like my mentors, it was definitely something nice.
Yeah. Victor, for you, obviously, not only going through and graduating, but helping others find their voice, right? And helping. Talk about that for me, because I think, for yourself right now, it seems like, you're holding it down.
Thank you. So I wasn't always like this. I was not the type of person that always have the confidence to speak to a camera or to even be in front of a camera speaking to a big crowd. So I started my 10th grade, and to be honest, I didn't even know what to do with my life or what direction I wanted to go. But during that first summer with ICME, it's like something opened in me that wanted to do different things and really doing because we do a lot of guerrilla marketing, so we go outside in the street and we talk to people. I found out that I was really good at that. I found out that I was really connected to the people I talk to. It could be strangers, and I could be having a full-blown conversation like I know them for like a long time. So I feel like if I feel like this in something so little, I want to make it big. I want to put myself in those shoes so I can become something bigger out of that. And really, JJ Grant has helped me become that. She's been my mentor. She's been an amazing person that I can rely to every time I feel like I don't know what to do in some situations. So having that connection with the owner really made me want to be part of that company. So made me want to be part of, I want to help her build also the ICME program.
Yeah, JJ's awesome. I'm going to say publicly, I owe her a phone call, so I'm going to put that out there. I owe her a phone call. I'm going to call her as soon as this is all over with. Because y'all really, and I'm really saying this, you guys are great. I mean, to hear you, to see you, there's plenty of people I interview all the time, and they have a hard time really being able to express themselves.
Right.
The fact that, I'm watching, 3 young men, 4, to be able to express themselves fully, share a little bit about who they are and their goals and their journeys, man, it's amazing. And it's great work. So what do you see yourself doing next time?
After this?
Yeah.
I think I want to continue in the ICME program. Like the way he's talking about it, it seems like it changed his life. Maybe it could change mine. Like I really like this program. I really like what JJ has done. I really like all the connections that I made. And I think like this program, like it really means a lot to me right now. Like I'm gonna be a little upset when it ends, but hopefully I can be back next year. I love
It's
it.
like, man, maybe we'll get you an internship, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on back. You gotta listen, you know. And I think that's the goal, right? I mean, it's pay it forward, too.
Yes, it's to open up opportunities for you to develop, for you to make connections, and, you know, we always going to be here. If you ever want an internship placement, it's always open to our members. Like, that's guaranteed.
Yeah. Was there ever a time when you first started that you said, this ain't for me?
Yeah, it was when we first started doing like the art and stuff.
What am I doing here, right?
Yeah, it was like I was kind of confused, but then they told me like, we need you to express yourself, and they basically had majority of the class. We would go up, we would tell our stories about who we are, our past traumas, where we came from, and then once we did so, they would tell us like, can you express that? And I was like, yeah, I could try, and I went painting and I doing pretty good. Mm-hmm. And it was actually, it's a great feeling. It's definitely something nice.
Is it a little nervous feeling having other people look at your stuff?
I ain't gonna lie, in the beginning, a little bit. I cause I'm not really an artist, so I'm like thinking like, what are you gonna look at? Like, do they think this look bad? But I think like just expressing myself and just like seeing all this work that I put in out there, you know what I'm saying? I don't really mind anymore. Like, you know what I'm saying? Art has just become something that I really like and appreciate now. So,
yeah. No, you're an artist, man. I mean, I travel to Europe and I see some stuff on the wall. I'm like, oh, how did y'all do that? That ain't nothing. But it's really something. You know what I'm saying? So everybody's, it's art, it's expressive, it's individual, it's each person. And I guess, you know, and I'm not in the industry enough to be, but there's a part that says you're just telling your story, right? Right. Yeah. And there's a story in what you have, and it may not be the picture that everybody likes and resonates with, but to somebody else, that might be the picture that it resonates with. So you know, you are an artist. Just so remember that. Don't ever say you're not an artist. What advice do you give them?
I feel like being the self and being real is the most important thing. If you want to continue working with JJ Grant, because I feel like you gotta be truthful to yourself, and you also gotta take out the wrongs, because not everybody's perfect. Not every time you're gonna do the right thing. Not every time you're gonna be on the right. So just being a real person and accepting your flaws is a big thing that can take you a long way.
Yeah. How does it feel for you, just being that facilitator and seeing this transformation occur in the lives of these men?
I mean, it feels good, because I grew up in the same neighborhoods they grew up in. You understand? So I've been through a lot, you know? And to help the generation under me is a good feeling. Yeah. And the fact that it's successful, you know, we see youth come back and want to work with us. You see that they develop speaking skills and they get more comfortable and confident. The fact that we can take pride on doing that for the youth is a great feeling. Like, it's a beautiful feeling.
Well, thank y'all for joining us, Jaden, Taole, Victor, Emmett. Good to have y'all here.
Thank you. Appreciate you a lot.
Appreciate you. 14, we'll talk about that in a minute. All right. For more information, you can visit the website at jjgrantnyc.com. Want to let you know we come to the end of our show today. Thank all of our guests for joining us and you, the viewer, for tuning in. Now, if you missed any part of today's show, you can catch the recablecast right here on Optimus Channel 67, Verizon Files Channel 2133, or watch us anytime on the web at bronxnet.org. And you can catch a brand new episode of Open with my girl, Rena Valentine, on Friday. That wraps up this episode for us. I'm Darren Jaime saying, listen, make sure to keep this channel wide open. We say take care, God bless, and see you soon.